Will.
But hang on just a second.
Sure.
Let me get my belt, and then get my belt.
So this is an apple tree. And that was a pretty big thing that fell, right? Off. Is that one right there? Is that where it came from? The what you just took down is it?
Right here is that tree.
Oh, that whole bit, the whole side of that. Oh wow. So this entire thing fell after the storm last night. Joe and Dean from Emergency Tree Service came and got it. Oh, look at this rig.
Well, it's a pretty important to have a good, and you can videotape this if you like.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Um, so hi, I'm Joe Phillips, AAA Emergency Tree Service, and I'm going to show the next door neighbor to one of my clients. What's your name, sir?
Eric Adler.
Eric Adler. Just give him sort of a sense of how we do it with trees. You've evidently have done stuff with climbing on, in mountain climbing and so forth.
Mountain Rock, yeah.
Mountain rock. This is a little bit different. What I do here is I've got a belt that is quite comfortable. You have to have you have a lot of stress and strain on yourself because you're climbing and moving around and. At the
So
same
it's
time,
on your body. It's really because you have to be there a while, right?
Oh yeah, you may be up in a tree for several hours at a time, and then you're carrying this chainsaw, and at the same time of doing all of that, you're having to perform whatever it is or whatever it takes to get a tree like this done. So having this a little bit heavier duty, a little bit more padded belt is a better option for me personally.
Wow.
Because I don't like, even though there's others that are much lighter weight, I prefer really the comfort.
The comfort is key. I mean, if you don't want you don't want to cut off the circulation to a leg or something because then it's hard to use.
Oh yeah, well, this is exactly. There's no, and also I wear chaps, and this is important because I've actually nicked my knee with a chainsaw.
Oh.
One time, ended up in a emergency room. Fortunately, it wasn't that deep to create any damage other than some stitches to pull it together.
You didn't hit an artery or anything.
No. But ever since then, I've always had chaps. Now, there's an advantage they have in these chaps because they also give me protection. They kind of cushion my body.
For falling branches, is that one thing?
Yeah, or just
'Cause
or just climbing.
Just climbing itself. You got a helmet on too,
yeah,
so
the actual the actual climbing, yeah. And also the most important thing, and most valuable reason for doing it, an advantage for doing it, is that if this chain hits the fence, which it's hit it here.
Oh yeah.
It's hit it here. It's hit it here.
So those are
It's hit it
patches.
here.
Those are all patches.
These are all patches.
Oh my
and
gosh.
So what happens when the chainsaw, that's the closest. That's close but no cigar.
Yeah.
that was really too close for my comfort. It just something knocked the chain, and it knocked it in. But it's extremely valuable to have these. So this essentially is the gear that I wear. Now, let me explain how this works. This is a lanyard. It could be, I suppose I could replace it, but I just wanted the.
So that's a very strong piece of rope then. That's not like from
But the thing that's important about it
Oh, it's got a steel.
is that it's got a steel cable. So that means that I can't chop through this.
Right.
So that's a really
This blade will never go through that steel.
this blade will never go through that. And if it has nicked it a couple of times, I've nicked it,
Yep.
but it doesn't hurt it to the point where you can't use it.
You can't use it. Yeah.
I should replace it, but it's right now. I'm fine with having a good ladder is more important than making this perfect here. Now the thing that's really nice about this is that it's adjustable. So that means that when I get to the top of that branch, right up there. By the way, this whole thing's going to be coming off back to here.
Oh wow.
So
it's
when
going
I get
over
up
the
there,
house.
I'll throw this around that branch, and I'll tie that in, and then I'm safe.
Oh yeah. So this is auto locking. Is that right?
Yeah, it's just a.
And
Now here's the important thing about this is that you're pressing two different parts in order to open it up. So see, I'm just
Unlike a climbing carabiner where there's just one, this has two things.
exactly.
And this is your
And now this thing that's nice is because it's adjustable.
yeah, it's a one-way hold. So it's a cam lock in there.
Yeah, and when you want to release, you just simply just release.
It's like a self-belay device almost.
Exactly.
That's
Probably
great.
very similar to probably the equipment you use with some
Rock
of your
climbing.
equipment.
Yep.
One way. It's a one-way,
Yeah, the cam holds on to grabs hold of the rope and
and then it
that's
locks
it. Yeah, that's great.
So now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be climbing. No, this is that rope that I was telling you about.
Oh, yeah.
This is the actual climbing rope that I'll be using. Excuse me, just a second.
Yeah, no problem.
Triple Emergency Tree Service. This is Joe. For what job? Now the way this works is that I basically have, this is probably one of my older ropes, but I don't need anything that's going to be too significant at this point. When I get to the top of the tree, I'll secure myself in
Right into that cam. Oh.
right into this, and then what I got is this adjustable. Come on over here, and I can show you how I tie that.
Yeah.
But I basically bring this in here, and I do it one spiral down, two spiral down, and then I go up here and create this kind of loop, and then I go one and two down, and then I snug that whole thing together into this knot.
Great.
Now that knot there is now doing the same thing
this.
my lanyard did.
Oh, that is great.
Now, so when I get to the top of the tree, I'm essentially going to tie into the top of the tree. But before I ever turn any chainsaw on, I'm going to be always secured in with this.
With that.
That way, there's no.
So you only have 2 points.
Then I'll have 2 points. I'll have the top, or at an angle or whatever, and then of course I'll have the this one here that I try to use all the time. And if I can't do it and I'm far enough away from my rope where I'm not exposing it, then I'll do. I don't worry about using this secondary thing.
How long have you been doing this?
Now 50 years.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
great. So
Actually,
you-
it will be this next year. It'll be 50 years that I'll be in business. And I started out in landscape, and then I went to work with a guy by the name of Gene Ross for a winter. He has a company that I use as a network partner, actually, Ross Tree Service. And I use him primarily for most of my tree removals and helping me out on really big projects where he'll come in and use his gravel truck.
Oh, it's great to have a partner like
Oh,
that.
I've got hundreds like that.
Oh, that's wonderful.
But he was the first one, and it was really important to have had that relationship be successful and work through the kinks, because it's been really the standard for kind of how I run my whole network.
That's great.
So anyway, when we get to the top of the tree, we're going to go ahead and tie that, and then we have this adjustable thing so that when we pull on that knot, it releases. So then I'll be ascending. And when I want to go back up, when I want to climb up the tree, then I'm going to be pulling up, slipping up. Pulling up, slip up. Slow, and then adjusting that just the way I want it throughout the tree.
In climbing, we call that jumaring.
Jubaring.
Jumaring. It's a jumar. It's a one-way thing, and you go up and you go up.
Yep. And this is the way you adjust one way or the other to wherever you want to be in that tree. And then I try to, as a matter of course, try to secure myself double anyway because it's smart. And
So-
number two, you just can't cut yourself out there.
Oh yeah. And the angle is kind of important, right? When you're
Absolutely. So if there'll be times when I won't be able to use the secondary one, or I don't need to use it because I know the knot that I'm using and it's working well. Hey, Dean. Yeah. You need to have that. Guess you need to have that chopped up. I'll chop that up a little bit. Okay, here we go. I just need, here's my glasses. So when I get the top of this ladder, I'll secure myself in and then make a few cuts and kind of clean up the inside of the tree as I go in here. I'm going to be removing that big branch because it does have fire blight right back to here.
So right to here.
So I'll be cutting it right back to
Wow, it's a big.
it's a big branch.
What is that?
Or you know,
How
I
do
mean,
you? How do
may
you?
as an actually, I may as an option just because it is a big branch. We may not do it this year, but we'll have to do it next year. But I'm going to take this out probably. You were asking, I'm sorry.
When you speak about the size of a limb, is it circumference or is it
Usually diameter.
diameter?
Just like this is about a 4-inch branch.
So there's your
plenty big enough to cut through. So
your
now I'm
safety
secured
lines
in.
in.
So now I'm secured in, and then I'll clean this all up just like the final product. Pull that down, slip that, and pull that bag out a little bit further. There's no reason to have that, or pull it in so it's not underneath it. So a lot of the work that I do is just with this lanyard.
So you've got just that one point in and you end that ladder.
1 point hold is all you need because you just want to hold yourself where you're at. But if you're in between branches, it's really helpful to have like two or sometimes even a three hole.
Yeah.
Because you can always use another rope. You're gonna have to really pull on that. There you go. There you go. Yes, it should come down. Perfect.
Now in golf they say 4. Is there anything that they say with a tree?
Headache. Headache. Yeah, we don't usually say timber very often in the city.
Yeah.
We usually say headache.
Hey.
Because usually you're kind of chopping things up. You're kind of disassembling most stuff. You're not. If you got a tree removal, you usually just don't topple the whole thing over. There's not enough room for it, you know.
You have to take it to pieces.
Yeah, just little by little, just take it apart. I'll do whatever I can do from the ground before I actually tie in and go into the tree then.
Okay.
So you're really,
You're like if you're in the forest, you're like making a path almost, but in the
you're
sky.
basically just getting everything you can get from the ground. That's the important thing. In other words, you're working ground up. It's a lot easier for me to be on a ladder and just to maneuver the ladder around, being secured in at the same time, because that way if I lose traction or something, I'm still going to be able to stay safe on the ladder. But I'll just go around the entire tree working from the ladder, and then I'll move into the tree.
Okay.
Because I'm just able to get everything the most efficiently, either from the ground, from the ladder, and then once I've kind of reached my limit with that, where I can't reach anything from the ladder, then I go ahead and climb into the tree.
Wow, that is great.
Just real common sense. Like there's a little bit of a thinning that I can do on the outside of this branch right above you, and I'll show you what that'll look like. There's a little bit of blight, and then there's just a
Blight.
little bit,
That's the word for the.
for this discolored branches that are starting to die back. They get some. And don't ask me the technical stuff on that. 'Cause I'm not really like a. I don't really get into the treatment of these. Now here's a good example of not only blight but also crisscross growth. I'll probably get rid of this whole. I'll probably get rid of this one here
Because they're growing on top of each other.
because they're growing on top of each other.
Okay.
But it's easier to do that from a ladder than it is to do it from hanging from a rope.
Yeah. It looks a lot nicer now.
It's just cleaning a little bit of excessive sucker growth and that little bit of disease part.
And this makes the tree healthier, right?
Oh yeah.
And happier if trees had happiness.
It really does make it healthier. It opens it up. It gives it a little bit more circulation, a little bit more room to grow. You saw that, and a little bit air for the inside the tree to get a bit more light too.
Oh.
Because sometimes branches will just kind of die back on the interior of a tree, just because they just don't get enough sunlight.
Right.
It's kind of like I need to chunk that up. I think.
Well, it's quite a teamwork effort you guys got going together.
I think about, 2 years now? A little over 2, huh? 2.5 years, yeah. Doing the tree work, I need to
You're managing the business.
Other phone calls. I don't have like an answering service. It's a slow time of the year. I would never have one at this time of the year anyway.
So this is both your work and your office.
Exactly. So I basically kind of just handle everything. So now I'm going to send. I got a new client, and I'm going to send him my contact information so he has it. He's going to call me once he gets up to Boulder, because he's got a tree that fell, and I said that as soon as I could get to do it would be most likely tomorrow. That way I can finish this job and then be ready for a new one tomorrow.
Well, the ability to estimate everything and keep everything in your head, that's a
Yeah.
big part of it, isn't it?
Well, it's, I always write things down, of course, just because it's, and I never rely just on the technology because it's not enough. So I use the old-fashioned 3x5 cards, and at the same time, I've got a couple of, iPhones and iPad and a computer just like everybody else.
Yeah.
But it's,
You seem pretty passionate about your work.
I am. I'm going another 20 years. Yeah, I'm 69. I'll be 70 in, let's see, I'll be 70 in August 23rd. And I've geared up. You can see I've got a beautiful truck, and
Yeah.
I'm in the process of getting all my equipment painted the same color you see there. This will be painted, and new signs, and enough to where, and then I have another trailer that I pull, and it's an amazing setup, because this other trailer, you can actually go in there and build a little fire. It's got a little
Furnace? Like,
not a furnace, a little what do you call it? What do you call those fireplaces? Like a
Wood store, right?
yeah,
Like-
just a wood stove.
like
a
a
wood
wood
stove.
burning, yeah, what's like
Just
you'd have in a
wood-
house to
Yeah,
heat the house.
a wood burning stove that's no bigger than like like a foot wide. I mean,
Wow.
it's really cool.
That
But
is great.
the whole thing is it's got a roof that comes off. It can tilt, it can dump, it can or you can live in it. It's got a bed that you can pull out and make a bed, and
Wow.
a table that will that's made out of steel that you can either work as a bench, or you can stack barrels in it.
That's amazing. And so just to conclude, you are
I'm the owner. I'm Joe Phillips, AAA Emergency Tree Service, and I'm gearing up to go another 20 years, because I want to. There's nothing I'd rather do than just have something to do, and especially something like this, where you really get to challenge your own physicalness and your own mentalness, because sometimes when I'm climbing a big tree, you have to really you have to get psyched up for it. Some days I'm not game for that.
Yeah.
It's like that's just way too much.
better to not go than and
Yeah.
cut another tree another day, right?
Yeah. Just wait.
All right.
You have to. It's I'll let her know that probably the next major branch will take off is that one there.
Well, Joe, thanks so much. I can't feel my fingers anymore, so I'm gonna go. But I really appreciate everything.
You're welcome. Thank you
meeting
much.
And
You